Have you ever thought back to your school days and wondered how on earth we all survived them? From chalk flying through the air to the dreaded cane in the corner, the 1960s classroom was a world with its own rules, and none of them would pass today. Teachers were strict, unpredictable, sometimes terrifying, and yet we somehow respected them completely. Here are 15 things teachers did in the 60s that would absolutely shock parents now, saving the best for last. Number 1. The cane. That sound, the sharp whack echoing down the corridor, could silence an entire school. The cane was not a threat. It was a promise. It hung behind the teacher's desk like a warning flag, ready for anyone who stepped out of line. If you talked back, forgot your homework, or even smiled at the wrong time, you could be called up for 6 of the best. It didn't matter who you were, headmaster's cane, gym teacher's slipper, even rulers across the knuckles. Some kids learned to sit on one side for a week after a good hiding. Parents didn't complain. They nodded approvingly and said, "You must have deserved it." Today, it would make front page news. Back then, it was Tuesday. Number 2. Throwing the board rubber. Every classroom had one, a big, heavy wooden eraser caked in chalk dust, and every teacher had a perfect throwing arm. If you weren't paying attention, you'd hear, "Are you listening, boy?" followed by a thud on your desk. Some teachers didn't even aim at you. They just threw it in your general direction for dramatic effect. Sometimes it missed, sometimes it didn't. A puff of chalk, a collective gasp, then laughter from the rest of the class. No parent-teacher meetings, no incident report, no trauma counseling. You just rubbed your head, sat up straight, and stayed awake for the rest of the lesson. Number 3. Standing in the corner. When you misbehaved, it wasn't quiet detention, it was humiliation. Go stand in the corner. The words every kid dreaded. You'd stand there, facing the wall, as your classmates giggled behind you. Some teachers made you hold books out at arm's length, your arms burning while everyone watched. You didn't talk, you didn't move, you just prayed for the bell to ring. It wasn't about reflection, it was about making an example of you. And it worked. Everyone else suddenly behaved perfectly. Number 4. Smoking in the staff room. You could smell it from the corridor. That thick, grey cloud of cigarette smoke wafting out whenever the staff room door opened. Teachers would sit shoulder to shoulder, puffing away between lessons, with mugs of strong tea and piles of marking in front of them. The smell would cling to their clothes. You could tell exactly which teacher had just come from break. Some even smoked while pacing the hallway or standing by the classroom window. Today, they'd be escorted off the premises. Back then, it was just part of school life. Tobacco and chalk, the official scent of education. Number 5. Favoritism. Every teacher had one, their golden child. The one who got to hand out the books, lead the line to assembly, or sit at the front of the class. They were trusted, praised, and somehow always escaped punishment. The rest of us? We learned that life isn't fair, especially when the favorite got extra sweets at Christmas. Teachers didn't hide it either. You could almost hear the tone in their voice soften when they said the favorite's name. But as much as we complained, part of us wanted to be that kid, the chosen one with the teacher's smile. Number 6. Collective punishment. One person whispered during a test. The entire class stayed late. Someone flicked an eraser. Everyone wrote lines. There was no detective work, no who did it. It was faster to punish everyone, and it worked. We learned teamwork through fear. You'd glare at the troublemaker, silently promising to get them back at break. Modern parents would call it unfair. We called it Tuesday. Number 7. Boys versus girls rules. Schools in the 60s ran on double standards. Girls had to wear skirts, keep their knees together, and act like young ladies. Boys were told to toughen up, stop crying, and play rugby in the cold rain. Girls did needlework, boys did woodwork. Even the punishments were different. Boys got caned, girls got scolded. The message was clear: your future was already decided. Looking back, it's shocking. At the time, it was just the way things were. Number 8. Cleaning the blackboard. At the end of the day, someone would be chosen to clean the blackboard, the highest honor and the dirtiest job. You take those thick, dusty erasers outside and clap them together until the air filled with white clouds. By the time you finished, your clothes and face were covered in chalk. We coughed, we sneezed, and we thought it was brilliant. No masks, no gloves, no risk assessment, just the satisfaction of watching that cloud drift into the afternoon air. Today, it had come with a warning label. Number 9. Teachers grabbing you by the ear. If you didn't listen, they'd grab you by the ear and steer you back into line. It wasn't seen as violent, just efficient. Sometimes it was a hand on your shoulder, sometimes a sharp tap on the back of the head. You didn't file a complaint. You said, "Sorry, sir," and moved on. It taught instant respect, even if it left you red-faced. Nowadays, it would be on the evening news. Back then, it was discipline, old-fashioned and painful, but it worked. Number 10. Open fires and zero safety rules. Health and safety didn't exist. Classrooms had open fireplaces, splintered desks, and heavy radiators you'd burn your leg on. Science lessons featured naked flames and bubbling chemicals, no goggles, no gloves. The woodwork room smelled of sawdust and risk. We played with mercury, dissected frogs, and used tools no child should ever touch. But somehow, we learned and survived. You didn't need permission slips, just common sense and a bit of luck. Number 11. Milk bottles in the classroom. Every morning, little glass bottles of milk were dropped off at the door. By the time break arrived, they were warm, creamy, and slightly sour, especially in summer. But you drank it anyway because everyone did. Some kids loved it, others tried to hide theirs behind a desk leg. And if you didn't drink it, the teacher made sure you did. No one wasted milk. It was free, nutritious, and apparently character building. Number 12. Public shaming for mistakes. Spelling a word wrong wasn't just marked in red ink, it was a public event. You'd be called up to the front, chalk in hand, to write it again until you got it right. 10 times. 20 times. The class watched in silence, half terrified, half grateful it wasn't them. There were no quiet talks or gentle encouragements. The lesson was simple: don't get it wrong again. And surprisingly, it worked. Number 13. School trips with no seatbelts. School trips were chaos. Dozens of kids crammed into an old coach, no seatbelts, no air conditioning, and no idea where you were going. The teacher sat up front, reading a newspaper while the driver smoked. Half the kids were singing, the other half trying not to get car sick. Someone always forgot their packed lunch, and at least one child lost a shoe. And yet, they were some of the best days of our lives. We made it home sunburned, exhausted, and happy, somehow still in one piece. Number 14. Telling offs in front of parents. There was no privacy in the 60s. If your mum came to pick you up, the teacher would give a full report right there at the gate, loudly. Your son's been talking all week and failed his sums again. There were no emails home or private meetings, just instant embarrassment. And by the time you got home, you'd get the second round. Number 15. The slipper and the laugh. The slipper, the ruler, the cane, they became playground legends. We told stories about who got the worst punishment and how they took it like a champ. It was fear mixed with pride, strange but real. The teachers ruled with authority, and even when we thought they were monsters, we respected them. Looking back now, it's hard to believe it was all considered normal. Harsh, unfair, and sometimes cruel, but unforgettable. School in the 60s wasn't easy, and it certainly wasn't gentle. But it had something we rarely see today: discipline, respect, and a sense that we were all learning life as much as lessons. It wasn't perfect, but maybe that's why it still lingers in memory. Those classrooms, those smells of chalk and polish, the sound of the bell, they shaped us. And though parents today would be horrified, those were the days we'll never forget.